Hey there, and welcome. Today we're diving into something that, believe it or not, shapes pretty much every single decision you make and every opinion you have. We're talking about attitudes, the basic building blocks of our entire social world. So let's jump right in.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Why do you love that one coffee shop or root for that specific team? What makes one song fill you with joy while another just gets on your nerves? These aren't just random little quirks. They're all being driven by these fascinating psychological blueprints we call attitudes.
Okay, so first things first. Before we go any further, we have to ask the big question. From a social psychology standpoint, what even is an attitude?
Now, the two words I really want you to focus on here are learned and consistently. Learned is just so important because it means we aren't born with our attitudes. We pick them up from the world around us. And consistently is the other part of the puzzle. Our attitudes give us a reliable, kind of predictable way to react to things.
But here's the thing. Attitudes are way more than just a simple like or dislike. They've got layers. First, you have valence. That's just the direction. Is it positive, negative, somewhere in the middle? Then there's intensity. How strong is that feeling? You might mildly dislike Brussels sprouts, but feel super passionate about a political issue. And finally, you've got multiplexity. This is all about how many different thoughts and feelings are wrapped up in that one attitude. The more complex it is, the harder it is to change.
So, to really get a handle on all that complexity, psychologists came up with this really fantastic framework. It's known as the ABC model, and it breaks down any attitude into three simple core parts.
First up, A is for affective. Think of this as the feeling part. It's all about emotion, that gut reaction. Let's say we're talking about your attitude toward exercise. The affective part might be that awesome, energized feeling you get right after a great workout. It's that purely emotional, positive kick.
Next, we've got B for behavioral. And this one's easy. It's what you actually do. It's the action that comes from your attitude. Sticking with our exercise example, the behavioral part is you actually getting your gym clothes on, heading to the gym, and working out a few times a week. It's the behavior itself.
And finally, C is for cognitive. This is the thinking part. These are all the thoughts, facts, and beliefs you have about something. For exercise, your cognitive side is saying things like, okay, I know exercise is good for my health, or I believe it helps reduce stress. These are the logical reasons you use to back up your feelings and actions.
And when you put it all together, you get something like this. The table just lays it out perfectly. You've got your positive feelings, the affective part. You've got your consistent actions, the behavioral part, and you've got your logical beliefs, the cognitive part. When all three of those line up, boom, you've got a really strong, stable attitude.
Okay, so if we aren't born with these ABC structures, where on earth do they come from? Well, it turns out we learn them. Our environment, our experiences, our families, they are constantly shaping our attitudes, a lot of the time without us even realizing it.
And this happens in a few key ways. First, there's classical conditioning. This is just learning by association. Think about how advertisers are always playing your favorite song in a car commercial. They're trying to get you to associate that good feeling with their product. Then there's instrumental conditioning. That's learning from rewards and punishments. When you're a kid and you say something that gets a big smile from your parents, that praise reinforces that belief. And of course, there's observational learning, which is exactly what it sounds like. We watch people we look up to, our parents, our friends, and we absorb their attitudes like a sponge.
Now, once we have all these attitudes, our brains have this deep, powerful need to keep everything neat and tidy. We just don't like it when our beliefs are clashing with each other. This drive for internal harmony, well, there's a whole set of theories for that.
One of the big ones is called Heider's balance theory. And the core idea is actually pretty simple. We feel good when the different parts of our world are in sync, and we feel, kind of tense and uncomfortable when they're not. Heider broke it down into this little triangle involving you, the perceiver, or P, another person O, and some object or idea X.
And this is how it works. A balanced state is easy. Let's say you, that's P, like your friend O, and you both absolutely love the same band, X. Everything's in harmony, right? But now, imagine an imbalanced state. You still like your friend, but you cannot stand their favorite band. You know that little nagging, uncomfortable feeling? That's the tension, and it actually motivates you to fix it. You might try to convince your friend the band is terrible, or maybe you'll give the band another listen. Or you might even decide you don't like your friend as much as you thought.
Now, this need for consistency gets really interesting when the conflict isn't about a friend and a band, but when it's about our own beliefs clashing with our own actions.
And this brings us to one of the most famous ideas in all of social psychology.
Seriously? Just think about that for a second. That cringy, kind of squirmy feeling you get when you do something that you know doesn't quite line up with who you think you are. We've all been there. And that feeling, well, it has a name, and it is a huge driver of human behavior.
That feeling is called cognitive dissonance. It's the mental static, the discomfort you feel when there's a gap between what you believe and what you do. And because it feels so bad, we are incredibly motivated to make it stop, to do something, anything, to get back to that feeling of balance. This is a perfect everyday example. Let's say you hold a really strong belief. I want to protect the environment. But your action is that you drive a big gas guzzler to work every single day. That contradiction creates cognitive dissonance. And here's the kicker. Your brain has to resolve it. So you might change your behavior, maybe save up for a more eco-friendly car, or you might change your belief. You could start telling yourself, well, my one car doesn't really make a difference in the grand scheme of things. Either way, the dissonance forces a change.
So, from the simple ABCs to that powerful internal push to resolve dissonance, our attitudes are like the hidden architecture of our social lives. They're learned, they have a clear structure, and they're always pushing us to be consistent. So, the next time you feel a really strong opinion welling up, maybe take a second and think, where did that come from, and what's holding it all together?